Number 3 is an important number. It has significance in our culture. It has significance in most cultures. Christians talk about the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. We have more common triads like birth, life, death, and past, present, future. We perceive the world in 3 dimensions: width, height, depth. We have 3 brass monkeys, a traditional thing, who say, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. 3s are important. When I was a new Toastmaster decades ago, we had a member in our club named Jack Van Straten. Jack was a big man, and he had a powerful voice, and he dominated. If Jack spoke, you listened. And he talked one day about structuring your speech so you have 3 points, because people can remember 3 things. They can't remember 4 or 5 or 6. So his message was you have an opening, 3 points, and a conclusion. Jack and I went to a Toastmasters meeting at the Mayo Clinic. This was a new club. We're supporting it as mentors. Jack evaluated one of the speakers, and part of his evaluation was this message of you should limit yourself to 3 main points. Well, after the meeting, the speaker came up to Jack, tried to deke him by saying, I was a high school teacher, and if I want to talk about 10 things, I'm going to talk about 10 things. The message went right past him. 10 things, you could throw away 1, you've got 9 things now, and you could probably organize them into 3 if you want to talk about that many things. Organize them into 3 groups. Now, there's a well-known motivational speaker, football coach, college football analyst named Lou Holtz. Some of you know the name. I'm guessing many of you don't. But Lou was a great coach, great analyst, and an even greater speaker. And he was an acolyte of the concept of speaking in 3s. One of the speeches I remember listening to was called Commitment, Trust, and Love. 3 things. Now, Lou could talk about anything for hours if he wanted to, but he did them in 3s. And how he fleshed out his speech, how he expanded it, was this ability to take commitment, trust, and love and add to each concept. So, for instance, under commitment, he might talk about commitment to friends and family, commitment to community, commitment to team. Thereby, if he did that with each of his main topics, he expands his speech. He talks about, now he's up to 9 things. But take that a step further. Under commitment to family, he might talk about commitment to your spouse, commitment to your children, commitment to yourself. And thereby, that's 3 cubes. He's found 27 things to talk about, but it's under 3 topics. You can remember those things. I'm going to give you an example of a speech we heard, and I wish Donnie Rolls was here today because I'm going to evaluate his speech. He talked a couple of months ago, you may remember this, about 9 tips for buying a home. Well, that triggered something in my mind. The number 9 is divisible by 3. And Donnie gave us a list of things that we could watch for. We connected with his speech because most of us have bought a house at one time or another and experienced what he was sharing with us. But it was kind of random, and I thought, I wish I was evaluating this speech because Donnie gave us his 3 main topics under which he could have organized his speech. It was preparation, buying, and selling. And it would have been more concise had he done that. And we might remember more of the details of the speech had he done that. So, fellow Toastmasters, my message is this. Apply the concept of 3s to your own speaking. When you have a topic that you want to talk about, find 3 main points, your strongest 3 main points. And in a 5 to 7 minute speech, you may only be able to flesh out a little bit each of those main points to talk about. But if you have enough to say, your main point, 3 subpoints. Second point, 3 subpoints, and so on, and conclude. We occasionally will, as humor master, call on a top 10 list to recite as our humor. And top 10 lists are funny, they're clever, but you could break them down to 9. There's always one clinker in there you could throw out. Take those 9. Take those 9 and figure out how to group them into 3 sets that have some commonality and a bullet point, and then create a short 2.5-minute speech. Rather than reading the list, you can take that top 10, group it into 3s, and make a speech. Finally, if you have 2 main points, you have room for a third. Find a third point to add in. It supports your argument. It gives credibility to your message and strength to your speech. So, fellow Toastmasters, on a given Sunday when you're in church thinking about the Holy Trinity, or if you're Sunday afternoon soaking in the bathtub thinking about the abstracts of birth, life, and death, or Sunday night if you're watching Hockey America. Hockey's a game that has 1 hour of playing time divided into 3 20-minute periods. Think about how important that number 3 is. Create your memorable and impactful speeches, presentations, by speaking in 3s. Mr. Toastmaster.